Good afternoon, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here with you all today. I'd like to give a quick thanks to the Carbon Markets Association of India and MES Frankfurt, India, for inviting me to speak at this event and putting it together. I'd also like to thank the previous esteemed speakers, such as Dr. Vishal. As engineers by trade, the amount of insight they can provide in these subjects is incredibly beneficial to not only all of you, but to me as well. My name is Cumberland. I'm an energy officer with the United States Embassy in New Delhi. I follow primarily renewable energy and green technologies. And to anyone who's been following these technologies, I think it's pretty clear that CCUS has really begun to take off and rise in prevalence over the past couple of years. The United States is taking CCUS seriously. In September of this year, the U.S. Department of Energy announced its intent to contribute $1.3 billion to catalyzing CCUS investment, and this is built on top of a previous $3.5 billion given to CCUS pilots and programs since December of last year. And through this money, we've implemented pilots in power plants, we've done it in cement, and we've managed to even deploy pilots in oil refineries. And India is taking it seriously as well. With the launch of India's national CCUS mission and our continued cooperation under the Strategic Clean Energy Partnership, CCUS has formed a cornerstone in our joint strategy to manage emissions, as it needs to be. Investment in these technologies will be critical to meeting not only the United States, not only India's, but the entire world's net zero targets, particularly in hard-to-abate sectors like cement, steel, and of course, petrochemical refinement. And to keep facilitating progress in these technologies, we are always excited to work with our Indian government colleagues, but also private sector actors such as yourselves. And as we've had conversations in this space with the relevant Indian ministries such as power and natural gas and new and renewable energy, with the public-private partnerships like ONGC, and with private sector actors such as yourselves, we've seen that CCUS technology has incredible potential and is very exciting. But we also see a lot of challenges that plague the technology. Plague is a very strong word, but that the technology must overcome to be effective. We've seen challenges in cost, the cost of carbon, the cost of scrubbing carbon. We've seen challenges in transportation. And we've seen challenges in identifying locations where pilots and storage can occur. And these are all challenges that the refining industry is uniquely situated to help us overcome. Under our Strategic Clean Energy Partnership, the United States Embassy and the Department of Energy have worked closely with our Indian government colleagues to explore and promote these technologies. We've worked on helping to draft regulations and incentive structures that can potentially propel the business case of these technologies in the future. We've worked on establishing pilot programs in areas like basalt storage, potentially offshore storage, and enhanced oil recovery. And we're working to explore new methods of utilization in hard-to-abate sectors by sharing research between US and Indian technical laboratories. But most importantly, we're trying to create an environment where CCUS isn't just the environmentally sound decision, but also the financially sound one where there's a solid business case for companies like you to invest in CCUS. Because to truly push CCUS forward, we need a combination. We need pilots that form a proof of concept. We need a certainty of regulation so the industry is easy to enter. And we need financial incentives to make an economic case for business owners such as yourselves to enter. My background is in private sector finance and consulting. So I understand, I think as well as many of you, that carbon capture needs to not only make sense from an environmental perspective, but also on your balance sheets to pursue projects. Because to truly meet our objectives, we need to partner closely with the private sectors, because you're the only ones who can implement and scale these technologies to the level that is required to meet our net zero goals, especially the refining industry. Your technical expertise will be crucial in developing and ultimately making CCUS cost-effective. Many of the challenges that I have just listed are challenges that you can overcome. For example, our pilots that are foundational in our early CCUS efforts, like enhanced oil recovery and basalt storage, they're in your wheelhouse. They build upon the technologies and the skills that your companies have established over decades. In CO2 storage and transportation, your ability to develop supply chains for petrochemicals will be foundational in establishing safe and economically efficient methods to transport CO2. From rails to pipelines, efficient and safe linkages for carbon sources, storage sites, and sinks will be crucial to developing the clean CO2 hubs that will be necessary to ensuring these technologies can scale economically. And your physical infrastructure is located on a lot of the potential storage sites as well. Geologic exploration is another area where the Indian refining sector has expertise that can help this industry. Only 10 to 11% of India's sedimentary basins are explored. And while we continue to explore routes in basalt storage and offshore carbon sequestration, the seismic data and its collection techniques that you have collected through your oil wells and gas wells can be instrumental in determining the locations of potential pilots. And it can also be instrumental in helping to shape the regulation in the regions and provinces where these pilots are located. And finally, and maybe most importantly, your expertise in chemical processes can help develop new and efficient uses for this carbon in the refining industry, but in other hard-to-abate sectors like cement as well. Because while storage is important, it is only one piece of the puzzle, and we need to continue to innovate to bring out CCUS's full potential. In the US, for example, our oil refining CCUS projects have developed offtakes in cement and concrete. And by continuing to build more robust offtake mechanisms, we can improve the financial viability of CCUS in the future. And while I've outlined, I think pretty clearly, some of the challenges that your industry can help overcome, I also want to emphasize that it is to your industry's benefit to enter the CCUS market, because it is growing across the world. The Global CCUS Institute recently released a report that shows that there's a 60% year-over-year increase in CCUS technologies from last year. That's billions of dollars being invested in the United States, in India, in the Middle East, and Asia in these projects. And these projects are not only necessary to meet our net zero targets, but for the companies and countries that invest in them, they provide an incredible economic opportunity. They can bring jobs, supply chains, and especially profit to those, and especially to the first movers who choose to enter and pioneer in this industry. With that in mind, I hope we can continue to work together to bring CCUS technology to maturity and economic viability. And I'd like to emphasize that we're not only the government of India's partner, but we're your partners as well. We always want to hear from industry about what is working, what isn't working, what regulations are effective and what's not. And especially if you see any potential partnership opportunities or technologies in the United States that you think could be beneficial to your own pilots and to your own business, we might be able to help make that connection for you, because we want to collaborate on the advancement of this technology. And with that in mind, I think we're eager to work with you and to see where we can bring these technologies. With that, I'd like to wish you all a happy Diwali, and thank you again to the organizers of this event for letting me speak. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you.